Loopy's Place. I'm Jane and you're joining me here in my studio in Sheffield. Today we're going to be talking about the different feet that we use in patchwork and quilting. So when you are sewing, if you're doing general sewing, you probably use the one foot and you use it for everything. You're probably familiar with using the zipper foot, buttonhole foot, but I think on the whole most of us tend to stick with what we know. When it comes to doing patchwork and quilting, we have some feet that help us to make it easier. Now you've heard us talk about using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's not always possible to rely on the guide on your sewing machine, and you'll see lots of different things that quilters will use to help them. You can get tape with the lines on, you line up the middle line, which is usually a red line, with the where your needle goes down into the machine, and you have two lines either side of it, 1/4 inch away, particularly helpful if you're doing half square triangles. But you can also get feet that help you. So with the piecing foot, or 1/4 inch foot, that comes by different names, it takes the guesswork out of it. So let's bring it down so you can see it on the table, it'll be easier to see. Okay then, so this is the walking foot. So let's take those ones out of the way. That's for my Juki. These ones are with the Janome, so probably more familiar, similar to the ones that you will get for your machine. So this is a 1/4 inch foot, and this is where it fits on. You can see this one has a guide bar, and you just, as you're sewing, the fabric just runs inside that guide, and that will give you a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can get some that don't have that on, and in fact I do prefer the ones without a guide on. And you will go to the edge of the front piece of your foot. There are some extra guidelines on here to help, especially useful when you're going around corners. So that's the piecing foot. That helps to get an accurate seam allowance. Now when it comes to quilting, when we're doing straight line quilting or using some of your serpentine stitches on your machine, we'll be using a walking foot. I would recommend getting one made for your machine. The height of the needle shank will depend on the size of these, so do watch that if you're buying a generic one. What they do have in common is a bar here that rests on top of the needle bar. So as your foot is going up and down, your needle's going up and down, this is going up and down with it. And you will see that these teeth here are going up and down at the same time. Now these work in conjunction with your feed dog, so if I just turn that over, I've got it so that it's down, and you'll see it's got these rough feet here. They hold on to the fabric at the top, your feed dogs are holding it at the bottom, and it helps to pull it through evenly. So demonstrate it with my students with your fabric going under, you've got your top layer fabric, and think when you're quilting you've got your wad in there. So your foot normally will sit on the top of your fabric, and as the needle's going up and down the feed dogs are pulling it through, but because of the layers it means that the foot just makes that top layer drag a bit. With the walking foot it just helps to go through, so it all goes in together. And that is why sometimes you'll see them called an even feed foot. So walking foot, even feed dog. Foot. So that is your walking foot. When it comes to free motion quilting, we will use something like this. Again, it's sprung. This bar at the top here again sits on top of your needle bar, and you have this here at the front. Now you can see I've got a gap here, and if you're going to get one, I'd recommend you get an open-toed one. The reason for that is it's a lot easier to see where your needle is and where you're stitching. Now this has come from my Dukey, so they look different but works on the same principle. That is my closed toe, so you can see the ring goes all the way around, and that obstructs your view of your fabric. There's the open-toed one, and you can see with that gap in the front it makes it easier to see where you're stitching. So when it comes to quilting, those generally are the feet that we used. So I do hope you found that useful. If you have any questions at all, do put them in the comments below or send me a message. This is going to go into my glossary that I'm putting together for patchwork and quilting. If there are any other terms or tools that you would like to know more about, do let me know and I'll see if I can get that included as well. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon, but in the meantime, do take care.